The gunshot cracked the air before anyone saw the man who fired it. Glass rained down from the lights above the dance floor, and the club erupted into screams. But through the chaos, through the stampede of bodies pushing toward the exit, he didn't move. Lorenzo DeLuca, 30 years old, feared in 3 cities, heir to the DeLuca crime family, stood perfectly still, eyes fixed on the woman who'd started it all without even knowing. She had been dancing. And in those few seconds, those hypnotic seconds before the bullet shattered the ceiling, he had forgotten the world, forgotten his men, forgotten the deals waiting upstairs, forgotten the power that sat heavy on his shoulders every day of his life. He forgot everything except the woman moving slowly in the center of the floor, unaware that the most dangerous man in the room had become obsessed with her. She was older, 47, caramel-skinned, confident, a kind of beauty that didn't ask for attention yet demanded it. Her twists bounced slightly as she spun, and her smile. Her smile looked like she knew something the world didn't. Lorenzo watched her the way a starving man watches food. Then the gunshot came from across the room, an amateur hit on a rival, nothing to do with her. But the moment chaos erupted, she vanished with the crowd. And that was what broke him. "Where is she?" Lorenzo asked, his voice calm but threaded with steel. His men exchanged looks. They knew that tone. It was the tone that came right before someone stopped breathing. We don't know, boss," Marco stammered, trying to scan the crowd. "She must have run out. I need her now." Lorenzo's eyes didn't leave the exit where she disappeared. He pushed a hand through his dark hair and turned sharply. "Find her. I don't care what it takes." Marco blinked. "Boss, you mean? Track her? Like?" "Now, Marco," Lorenzo snapped. "Do you hear me? Now." Marco swallowed hard. "Yes, boss." Lorenzo walked out of the club, brushing aside panicked patrons as though they were nothing. The night air greeted him, cold and sharp, hitting his lungs as he scanned the sidewalks. No sign of her. No clue. Nothing but the memory of her movement burned into him. He didn't understand it. He didn't get obsessed. He didn't chase. Women came to him. Power pulled them. Money kept them. Danger thrilled them. But tonight, something shifted inside him like a lock turning without his permission. Lorenzo exhaled slowly. "Find her," he whispered to himself, "before someone else does." The woman's name, unknown to him, was Serena Ward, and as she rushed out of the club with the crowd, she felt something strange prick at her senses. Her instincts, honed by years of surviving situations most people never saw, told her something had changed the moment she felt that man's eyes on her. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know why he watched her with such intensity. But she knew danger when she saw it. And that man radiated danger in a way that made the hairs on her arms stand up. She slipped into a side alley, breathing hard, leaning against a brick wall as the noise from the club spilled into the street. "Too much," she whispered to herself. "Too much attention tonight." A small laugh escaped her, but it held no humor. She never came to clubs like that. Not anymore. She was too old for the scene, or so she told her friends. In truth, it wasn't her age. It was her past. A past filled with people she hoped never to see again. People who would give anything to find her. People who believed she was dead. Staying hidden required discipline. Slipping into the shadows required consistency. And dancing in the middle of a crowded club? That was stupid, she muttered, pushing off the wall. Won't happen again. She adjusted her jacket, slid her hands into her pockets, and walked away from the crowd noise, choosing the dark back streets instead. She felt eyes following her. Not his. Someone else's. She didn't turn around. Not yet. She waited until she reached the end of the alleyway, then pretended to tie her shoe. In her periphery, a figure ducked behind a dumpster. Her heartbeat quickened. She straightened slowly. "If you're going to follow me," she called out, "you could at least do it right." Silence. Then a nervous voice said, "Ma'am, please don't be alarmed." She sighed. Amateur. Definitely not the man from the club. She turned to see a young man with messy curls and a terrified expression wearing a cheap suit. "What do you want?" Serena asked. The man gulped. I'm just supposed to make sure you're okay." "Oh, sweetie." She gave a small, pitying smile. You don't know who you're dealing with, do you? The young man's eyes widened. I didn't mean anything. The boss just said. Serena's voice sharpened. What boss? He froze, realizing he said too much. I can't tell you that. She stepped closer, her tone softening but her eyes deadly serious. What boss? The young man swallowed. Look, I don't want trouble. My orders were just to make sure no one else got to you. Serena's brow furrowed. No one else. The young man nodded quickly. There are other people watching you tonight. Her stomach tightened. So her instincts were right. Someone else besides the intense stranger from the dance floor was after her. And that meant her past was getting too close. Across the city, Lorenzo sat in the back of a black SUV, jaw tense as Marco stepped out of the club and approached the car. Talk, Lorenzo said before Marco could open the door. We didn't get her name, boss. She slipped out fast. Marco glanced down the street. But I put eyes on every exit. If she's within a 3-block radius, we'll find her. Lorenzo felt irritation flare. You had one job. Marco flinched. Boss, she's quick. And it was chaos in there. People were stampeding out. I don't care. Lorenzo's voice dropped to a cold whisper. I want her found. Marco nodded vigorously. We'll find her tonight. Lorenzo leaned back, exhaling sharply. She's not just some woman. There's something about her. He paused, shaking his head. When she danced, the room changed. Marco hesitated. Boss, this isn't like you. Lorenzo shot him a glare. What are you trying to say? Marco raised both hands. Nothing. Just. She's older, you know? You usually go for. Lorenzo's voice darkened. Shut your mouth. Marco did. Immediately. Lorenzo continued quietly. Age doesn't matter. She had presence. Confidence. She wasn't trying to get attention. That's what made her impossible to ignore. Marco watched him with growing concern. He had seen Lorenzo obsessed before. Obsessed with territory, power, money. But never with a stranger. Boss. The SUV rolled forward and Lorenzo's heartbeat picked up again because he had the strangest, unshakable feeling that he wasn't the only one hunting her tonight. And whoever else was looking for her. He intended to get there first. Serena kept her expression calm, even though her pulse raced like it wanted to break out of her chest. The young man tailing her was shaking, visibly overwhelmed. That told her one thing: he wasn't experienced and he wasn't a threat. Not yet. But whoever had sent him, that was another story. Listen, he whispered, glancing down both ends of the alley. I shouldn't even be talking to you. My boss is, well, he's not the forgiving type. Serena tilted her head. Then why follow me at all? Because he said you were important. Her eyes narrowed. To who? The young man's mouth opened, then closed again. He knew better. And she wasn't going to force it out of him. Not yet. Making noise, causing a scene, raising attention. Those were rookie mistakes. Serena had survived this long because she never panicked. Go home, she finally said, stepping back. You're not cut out for this. His face flushed in embarrassment. I can't do that. If I lose track of you, I'm dead. Serena studied him for a long moment, her voice softening just a hair. Then you never had a chance in this world anyway. Before he could respond, she turned and walked off, leaving him frozen between fear and confusion. Lorenzo's SUV carved through the city streets, headlights slicing through the dark. His phone buzzed, and he snatched it up. What? He barked. Marco's strained voice came through. Boss, one of the rookies. He spotted her. Lorenzo sat up straight. Where? Alley off 9th. But, she ditched him. A muscle in Lorenzo's jaw twitched. Of course she did. She's sharp, Marco continued. Real sharp. He said she clocked him instantly. That didn't surprise Lorenzo. Something about her radiated experience, intuition, awareness. She didn't move like someone who lived carelessly. She moved like someone who had survived things. Keep tracking her, Lorenzo ordered. No one gets close unless I say so. Marco hesitated. Boss, I gotta tell you something. What? We're not the only ones following her. Lorenzo froze. Explain. I don't know who they are yet. But someone else is watching her routes. Someone good. I've already caught 2 tails I didn't plant. Cold anger crawled up Lorenzo's spine. Find out who, he said, voice low. And if they touch her. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. The SUV screeched around a corner as Lorenzo's eyes scanned the sidewalks. Hungry, determined. I need her found before they find her. Serena moved quickly, slipping into the quieter part of the city where streetlights flickered and broken fences lined the sidewalks. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number she hadn't called in years. It rang twice. A groggy voice answered. You're not supposed to contact me. I know, Serena said quietly. But there's trouble. Asai. There's always trouble. No. Serena's voice tightened. Not like this. Someone dangerous followed me tonight. Maybe more than one someone. Oh hell. The voice instantly sobered. Serena, where are you? Doesn't matter. I'm not calling to meet. I just need you to check something for me. If it puts a target on my back. You already have one, she said flatly. You chose the life. Don't act innocent now. Silence. Finally the voice said more softly, what do you need? Find out if the name DeLuca means anything here lately. There was a sharp inhale. As in the DeLucas? Yeah. You crossed paths with them? Maybe. Serena rubbed her forehead. A man watched me tonight. Young. Sharp suit, aura of someone used to being obeyed. And someone else was following me too. You need to disappear again. I just did that, she snapped. And I'm tired of disappearing. Well, the voice sighed, then get ready. Because if the DeLucas want you, disappearing might be the only thing that keeps you alive. Serena hung up without responding. Lorenzo's SUV slowed to a crawl as he spotted something ahead, a woman walking alone, her silhouette matching the one burned in his memory. He leaned forward, breath catching slightly. That's her, he whispered. Marco leaned out the window. You sure, boss? I'm sure. Before the SUV fully stopped, Lorenzo stepped out and shut the door quietly. He didn't want to scare her. He didn't want to look like a threat. But his heart raced anyway, pounding hard enough that he felt it in his spine. She stopped walking. She sensed him. He smiled faintly. Of course she did. Excuse me, he called gently. She didn't turn around. He walked closer. I'm not here to hurt you. She exhaled, still facing away. Men who say that are usually lying. Lorenzo chuckled. Maybe. But not tonight. She turned then, slowly, cautiously, and when their eyes met, Lorenzo felt something shift again, something he couldn't name. You followed me, she said. I had to. No, you didn't. He stepped closer. You don't understand. She raised an eyebrow. Make me understand. Her voice held no fear. That intrigued him more. I saw you dance, he said simply. She blinked, unimpressed. And I need to talk to you. She folded her arms. I have no interest in being whatever you think I am to you. He took a breath. You don't even know me. I don't want to. That's the problem, he whispered, stepping closer. I want to know you. Serena shook her head. Flattery doesn't work on me. This isn't flattery. She studied him for a long moment, and then her eyes changed. Sharpened. Hardened. Who are you really? She asked. Lorenzo DeLuca. Her face went blank. Who's after you? Lorenzo asked, voice dropping. No one, she whispered, turning. He caught her arm gently, not forcefully, and she pulled away instantly, muscles tensed. Don't touch me. Serena, he said before realizing her name had slipped from his lips. She froze. How do you know my name? Lorenzo's eyes widened. Then a sharp whistle pierced the silence. Lorenzo's men whipped out their guns. Serena's eyes went cold. We're not alone, she whispered. And in that moment, everything changed. Careful, the man warned. You don't want a war you can't win. Lorenzo smirked. You clearly don't know who you're talking to. The man laughed sharply. Oh, I know exactly who you are, Lorenzo DeLuca. The boy boss. The one who thinks he inherited an empire instead of stumbling into a seat he wasn't ready for. Marco bristled. Watch your mouth. The stranger raised a finger. No, you watch yours. I didn't come for you. I came for her. Serena stepped forward before Lorenzo could respond. You're not taking me anywhere. Oh, Serena, the man sighed. Always so stubborn. It's exhausting. But orders are orders. Orders from who? Lorenzo snapped. The man smiled. And this time it wasn't smug. It was cold. Dead. From the people she betrayed. A figure stepped out from the shadows across the street, tall, hood up, hands in pockets, moving with the steady confidence of someone who had followed her a long, long time. Serena tensed immediately. Lorenzo saw it in her shoulders, in the way her jaw tightened. She knew this man, and she feared him. Lorenzo didn't hesitate. He stepped in front of her. Boss, Marco whispered, eyes darting. He's armed. I don't care, Lorenzo said quietly. The hooded man stopped under the streetlight. His smile spread slowly, like oil across water. Well, the man called out. You're making this harder than it needs to be, Serena. Lorenzo stiffened. The sound of her name, spoken so casually in the darkness, lit something volatile inside him. Serena didn't speak. Her eyes stayed locked on the stranger. He tilted his head. You really thought you could hide forever? That dancing in public wouldn't draw the wrong eyes. His gaze slid to Lorenzo. And now you've picked up a new pet. Cute. Dangerous. Stupid. Lorenzo's hand moved toward his gun. Serena's breath hitched. It was tiny, barely there, but Lorenzo heard it. Felt it. Betrayed. The word rattled in Lorenzo's mind. Serena whispered, You don't have to do this, Caleb. Caleb's eyes softened for a split second. You know I do. Lorenzo stepped between them again. No one is taking her. Caleb raised an eyebrow. You don't even know what she did. I don't care. Really? Caleb smirked. If she told you the truth, you would. Serena's voice trembled. Stop. Caleb tilted his head. You didn't tell your new admirer, did you? About who you used to be. What you were good at. His grin widened. Tell him about the files, Serena. Tell him who you used to work for. Serena closed her eyes. Lorenzo's voice dropped. Serena. Look at me. She didn't move. Serena. Finally, she opened her eyes, and they were full of something he hadn't seen in her before. Fear. I wasn't always who I am now, she whispered. Before I disappeared. I worked for a private defense contractor. I handled intelligence. Classified material. Names. Deals. Blacklists. I knew everything about everyone. She swallowed hard. And I stole it. Lorenzo stared at her, stunned. Serena continued softly. I leaked the data. Exposed everything. Criminal operations. Corrupt officials. Illegal trades. I brought down people who should have never been free. Caleb stepped forward. And in the process, you put targets on everyone's back, including mine. Serena's voice cracked. I didn't know they would go after you. You didn't think at all, Caleb snapped. They killed 2 of our own because of what you did.
Caleb gave Serena a long, thoughtful look. You got lucky tonight. Serena exhaled shakily. But luck runs out. Caleb backed away slowly, step by step. And when they send the next person, he won't talk first. He slipped into the shadows and disappeared. The street fell silent. Lorenzo turned to Serena. Come with me. She shook her head. I can't. You don't understand what you're involving yourself in. I don't need to understand. Yes, you do, she snapped, tears threatening behind her eyes. People died because of me. Everything I touched turned to chaos. You don't want me in your life, Lorenzo. He stepped closer, gently taking her hands before she could pull away. I saw you for 10 seconds, and I haven't been able to think about anything else since. Serena stepped closer to him, her voice shaking. If you're helping me, then everything changes. Your family gets dragged into something they can't control. You'll have enemies you didn't know existed. You'll be hunted, just like me. Lorenzo smiled faintly. Then they'll regret it. Serena gave a weak laugh. You're crazy. Maybe, but I'm your crazy now. She stared at him, really stared at him. And for the first time that night, something in her softened. Something like trust. All right then, she whispered.
No, Serena whispered, voice trembling. I'm not. Not yet. Her eyes hardened. But I want to be. Lorenzo opened the SUV door for her, offering his hand. She took it, and as she stepped inside, he followed close behind, never taking his eyes off her. His voice was quiet, but full of fire. I don't care what it costs. Serena met his gaze, breath catching. Why? She whispered. His answer was simple. I need you. The SUV.
One night sparked an obsession he couldn't control. One secret ignited a war she thought she'd escaped forever. Now their lives are tangled in danger, desire, and a fate neither of them asked for, but both of them feel pulling them closer. Enemies are watching, shadows are moving, and the story they've just